to the channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're looking at a stock for a company called UiPath. The ticker for the stock is PATH. And I'm going to find out they just released their earnings and the stock has plummeted about 19%. And we're going to look at different aspects of the stock and see what the cash flow is at this moment. I haven't seen the cash flow that whatever they reported because they just reported it not long ago. And we're going to see what the previous cash flows were. And we're going to also see the technicals on the chart, and we're going to see what the institutional banks are holding for this. What do the analysts from these institutional banks think about the stock, and whether this is something that we should be looking at as a long-term play. So let's get right into it. Right, so the company we're talking about is called UiPath. It's an automation company for enterprise, and they already have a couple of good partners like Google and NASA, and there are some other companies. So they do provide their solution for different aspects. So the model for the CEO is that they want to be able to get their tools in every home, every enterprise, and that's their motto. Right now, they're partners with different enterprise. So this is a software company, automation software company. The market value, the market cap for the company is $15.25 billion. On an average, the volume they trade is about 4 million or so. Today, they did about 7 million, and majority of the stocks were actually trending up, and then when they released the earnings, it just started plummeting. So that's why you see a greater number here. As far as the earnings per share is concerned, they actually, from the last quarters, the 10Qs they filed, it was negative 1.20. I'm going to find out what's going on with the earnings. Share fell 22% because they reported higher than expected loss in the fourth quarter. They hadn't been very profitable lately, and I'll go through the cash flow and see where but this was they're expecting, so is below the expectation. All right, and which is why the stock started plummeting and people are selling out of the stock. Okay, and let's see what the ownership from the institutional banks are having. And these institutional banks are the big companies, all the big investment companies, right? So they own 60.79% of the stock. They increased their position by 51 mil, and the sold was only 30. So the net is like 21 mil, which is again not terrible. And they have about 13 different analysts from these firms analyze. They did the analysis and they think the stock is a strong buy. From their perspective, they think the average price for the stock is $51.86. Higher, it could get to $85, and the lowest, I could get to $36. So looking at the cash flow, operating cash flow in 2021, December 31st, 2021. They reported was 29,000. Again, look, I gotta see whether this was reported on 10Q or 10K, because the difference between them makes a whole difference, right? 10Q is not audited, and you can put anything you want to draw in the stockholders and be able to get them going with the stock, and then you can actually, when they report the actual 10K, which is audited, and you cannot lie on it. Pretty much that's like the facts. So then I'm gonna find out what the earnings when they came out. What is it, 10Q, 10K? I'm not aware of that information as of yet, but operating cash flow was 29,000, which was in profit, which means that they were doing good. The free cash flow was 25,000, which means the money they had that money sitting there, it doesn't apply to any debt. This is free cash flow. They raised about at that time there were only 250,000 they raised on the stocks, but look at the TTM. That now we're gonna see the actual earnings when they come out they come available on the finances, different websites. But right now they did raise about 1.4 mil cash flow by stocks. The operating cash flow went down because they weren't. So when the operating cash flow is negative, which that means that the operations is in negative, they're not making money. And when they do this earnings, when they did the earning, we're gonna find out what's going on with that. Maybe this was right here was a 10Q. Okay, so we'll see. All right, let's move on to the stock itself. So right now the cash flow is not in a very positive direction, but that's not just only determination. There are different aspects that play a different role. So let's look at the chart itself and how people are investing in it. So technical. So I have it created a W shape here on March 28th. Then it started rising. There's a double bottom right here, and then started rising on 29th, and then today it started declining after the earnings call that they had. And now I have a feeling that Fibonacci retracement is already down to, I have a feeling that it's gonna start dipping even to negatives from Fibonacci retracement. And there's a support I have on $28, and there's support 25 and 23, and I have a feeling that it might even take it down to 25, or it could be 23 as well. But definitely something that I'll be adding to my watch list. And let's look at the EMA, exponential moving average. So exponential moving average also slightly, it's crossing over the 48 period mark right here. So when it crosses over, which means the stock it's on a downward trend. Right now, the stock has been downward trend from the day it started trading. The 200 period moving average is about 29.75, and if it started going, and this is already crossing over, so which means there's definitely a signal here that this is a downward trend. You already have the RSI is going to 33. Anything below 30 means the stock is being oversold, and I have a feeling that it's going to go below 30 tomorrow. And the MACD is way down the signal line, which is a moving average conversion diversion, and it's negative 20 for the histogram. So it's definitely going down, and we're going to see what happens to this stock tomorrow. But again, as we saw, right, there's a lot of ownership from the institutional banks. The recommendation from the analysts is a strong buy. I wouldn't disregard this stock. Again, not a financial advice. It's my personal opinion on my own, how I'm going to play this. I'm definitely adding this to my watch list, and I'm going to find a good entry point, and I might be able to get a few shares of this, because I have a feeling that, stock will eventually revive to the point that the analysts think it will be, because at the end of the day, automations, I have seen a lot of companies moving toward automations, and if you're providing automation for healthcare or a different enterprise, I think that's definitely something to be looked at. But yeah, I mean, this was my quick video why the stock is plummeting, and should you be looking at that stock. Good stock to be able to look into and see if this could be more of a portfolio stock. So stay tuned for more videos, and I'll speak to you guys in the next video.